Lieutenant Olivia Mason had always been careful about keeping the left side of her neck covered. Even on the hot decks of the USS Valiant, she kept her high collars and special hairstyles. 7 years of hiding had become normal to her. "Lieutenant, come to the bridge," Captain Harris's voice said over the speaker. "We have a strange signal coming from the Epsilon area." As Olivia hurried through the halls of the big starship, she fixed her collar again. The Valiant was Earth's pride, deep spaceship carrying the best humans into unknown space. She had earned her place here by being smart and working hard, moving past a troubled history to reach the stars. The bridge was busy as screens showed a blinking light in space. "Mason, what do you think of this?" Captain Harris pointed to the main screen. "It's sending out signals like our own messages, but with changes I've never seen before." Olivia looked at the data moving across her screen. "It looks like a help signal, sir, but it's using secret Earth Defense Force codes from about 10 years ago." The captain raised his eyebrows. "That can't be right. No ship using those codes should be this far in unknown space." "I agree, sir," she said, keeping her face calm. "Can I try to decode it?" As she worked, Science Officer Daniel Wright leaned over her station. "How did you know that code pattern so quickly?" he asked, speaking quietly so only she could hear Olivia's. Fingers stopped for a moment over the controls. "I studied old message codes at the academy," she said. The lie coming out smooth and practiced, Daniel's eyes narrowed a bit, but he didn't ask more. Instead, he reached across her to change a setting, his hand accidentally touching her collar. The cloth moved, showing a flash of silver-like skin before she could pull away. "Sorry," he said, though his eyes had caught the glimpse of what looked like an unusual mark. The mark wasn't random, it had a clear pattern that seemed almost made. Olivia quickly fixed her collar, but the damage was done. She could see the questions forming in Daniel's mind. Questions she had no plan to answer. "I've decoded the signal, Captain," she announced, trying to move attention away from herself. "It's definitely a call for help, but there's something else hidden in the code. Coordinates, and sir," she paused, her face going slightly pale. "They're sent specifically to this ship, to the Valiant." The bridge went quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. How could anyone know they would be here, in unmapped space, when their mission path was top secret? Captain Harris's voice cut through the silence. "Set course for those coordinates, Lieutenant. Let's find out who's calling us by name." As the ship changed direction, Olivia felt Daniel staring at her. The mark on her neck seemed to burn under her collar. 7 years of secrets were in danger of coming out, all because of one careless moment and a glimpse of something she had tried hard to hide. The Valiant moved through space toward the signal source. Olivia tried to focus on her work, but she could feel Daniel watching her. She knew he had questions. Questions about her past, about the mark on her neck, and about how she knew those old codes. Olivia had worked hard to build a new life after what happened. She had become one of the best officers on the Valiant. People respected her for her skills and knowledge. But now, that one glimpse of her scar might ruin everything. The scar wasn't just any scar. It was proof of a part of her life she had tried to forget. A time when she wasn't just Lieutenant Olivia Mason, space explorer, a time when she was something else. Something that the world had decided was too dangerous to exist. She touched her collar again, making sure it covered the scar completely. Her mind raced with worries. If Daniel told others what he saw, if people started asking questions, she might lose her place on the ship. Worse, she might be taken back to Earth for more tests and questions. Captain Harris looked at the main screen, where a small dot of light showed their target. "ETA to those coordinates?" 3 hours, sir," Olivia replied, glad for something normal to focus on. "Good, I want all sensors at full power when we arrive. Whatever's out there, I want to know about it before we get too close." Daniel nodded. "Yes, sir." But as he turned to his station, his eyes met Olivia's again. There was concern there, and curiosity, and something else. Something that made her heart beat faster. He knows, she thought. Maybe not everything, but enough to be dangerous. As the ship moved closer to the mystery signal, Olivia tried to prepare herself. Whatever was waiting for them, it wasn't by chance. Someone had set this up. Someone knew she was on the Valiant. Someone wanted her to find that signal. And after 7 years of hiding, of trying to be normal, of trying to forget, Olivia had a terrible feeling that her past was finally catching up to her. The scar on her neck, the secret she had tried so hard to bury, was about to be revealed in the quiet of her station. As stars streamed by on the main screen, Olivia made a choice. If her secret was going to come out, she would control how it happened. She wouldn't run, she wouldn't hide. Not anymore, because whatever was waiting for them at those coordinates, whatever had called her by name across the vast emptiness of space, knew what she really was. And perhaps it was time for her. Crew to know 2. Captain Harris stood from his chair. All senior officers, meeting room in 10 minutes. I want theories, people. Who sent this signal? How did they know we'd be here? And most importantly, what do they want? As the bridge crew nodded, Olivia caught Daniel watching her again. This time she held his gaze steadily. I'll be there, sir, she said to the captain, but her eyes stayed on Daniel. A small, sad smile touched her lips. In that moment, a silent message passed between them. A promise, perhaps, or a warning. Whatever happened next would change everything. The carefully built walls of her new life were about to come down. And when they did, nothing would ever be the same again. The scar on her neck, hidden for so long, held secrets that could save them all or destroy everything she had worked for. And as the Valiant raced toward the unknown signal, Olivia knew that the time for hiding was over, the truth was waiting. And this time she would face it head-on. The Valiant slowed down with a gentle shake, coming out into a star system with a dying red giant star. Ahead, barely visible against the red background, floated what looked like the broken parts of a ship. Scan that wreckage, ordered Captain Harris. Let's find out what we're looking at. Daniel worked his controls with skill. Sir, it's an Earthship. The ID says it's the Ed's Horizon. He frowned, checking his data. But that can't be right. According to records, the Horizon was lost with all crew during the Proxima incident 11 years ago. Olivia's hands turned white as she gripped her control panel. The Proxima incident, the first and only time humans had met hostile aliens. The battle had been quick and terrible. Earth had won, but at great cost. Any signs of life? The captain asked. None found, sir. But there's a power. Reading very small but active. And the middle section of the ship seems intact. Captain Harris nodded firmly. Prepare a team to board the ship. Lieutenant Mason, you're with me. Science Officer Wright, you too. Let's see what ghosts we found. As Olivia put on her space suit in the shuttle bay, Daniel came up to her. That mark on your neck, he said directly. I've been trying to remember where I've seen something like it. She stiffened. It's nothing. Childhood accident. Funny, he replied, voice casual but eyes intense. It looks a lot like the neural interface marks from the early Synapse program, the military program that was shut down after they found out about ethical problems. The program that was directly connected to the Proxima incident. Olivia zipped her spacesuit closed with too much force. I wouldn't know anything about that, wouldn't you? Daniel held her gaze. You recognize that code instantly. You seem upset by the mention of the Horizon, and you have a mark that looks like military-grade neural implants that were only used in one program, a secret program. She stepped closer, voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Stop it, Wright, for your own good. Everything okay? Captain Harris interrupted, walking up to them. Fine, sir, Olivia replied, forcing a smile. Just talking about approach plans. The shuttle trip to the Horizon was short and quiet. As they connected with the broken ship, Olivia fought to control her racing heart. She hadn't been on this ship in 11 years, not since the day everything had gone so terribly wrong. The airlock opened to show dark hallways lit only by emergency lights. The boarding team turned on their helmet lights and moved carefully forward. Life support is working but minimal, Daniel reported, checking his scanner. Main systems seemed to be in standby mode. They made their way toward the bridge. Passing signs of quick evacuation, personal items scattered, emergency plans half finished. Olivia moved with a familiarity she couldn't hide, automatically finding her way through the hallways without needing to check the ship's layout. Daniel noticed. "You seem to know your way around pretty well," he said quietly. She ignored him, but Captain Harris gave them both a curious look. The bridge was in better shape than the rest of the ship, though clear signs of battle damage marked the walls. Olivia went to the main control panel, her fingers hovering over the controls. "Can you access the logs?" The captain asked. She nodded, not trusting her voice, and began the sequence to turn on the ship's systems. The console recognized her body signs immediately, something that shouldn't have been possible after so many years. The main screen came to life, showing a message that made her blood turn cold. "Welcome back, Lieutenant Olivia Mason. Synapse. Protocol Alpha 7 started, transmission beginning." A moment later, Olivia gasped and grabbed her neck as the mark beneath her collar burned hot. Data began flooding through her mind, information she couldn't possibly know, memories that weren't hers, and a single terrifying message. "They're coming back. And this time, they know exactly where to find us." "Mason!" Captain Harris caught Olivia as her legs gave out. "What's happening?" She couldn't answer, overwhelmed by the flood of information pouring into her mind. Images, tactical data, star maps, all burning into her mind through the long and active neural interface beneath. Her mark. Daniel rushed to them, scanner in hand. "Her brain activity is off the charts. This is killing her." He looked around frantically, then spotted a familiar symbol on a panel near the captain's chair. Without hesitation, he pressed it. The flow of data stopped suddenly. Olivia gasped, taking in air like a drowning person reaching the surface. "How did you know to do that?" Captain Harris demanded. Daniel's face was grim, because I recognized what was happening. "She's a synapse," he looked down at Olivia. "Aren't you?" "One of the neural integrated pilots from the secret program." Olivia struggled to sit up, her secret finally exposed. "Yes," she admitted, her voice rough. "I was part of the Synapse program. We were supposed to be the future of space combat pilots, neurally linked with our ships, able to react at computer speeds." Captain Harris helped her to a chair. "The program was shut down after serious ethical concerns. Human brains weren't meant to process data at that speed." "No, they weren't," Olivia agreed bitterly. "Out of 30 volunteers, only 12 survived the integration process. I was one of the lucky ones, if you can call it luck." "The Proxima incident," Daniel said slowly. "The official record says that regular forces pushed back the alien attack. But that's not what really happened, is it?" Olivia shook her head. "No, it was us, the synapses. We were used as a last resort when normal tactics failed. We won the battle, but at a terrible cost. Most of my fellow synapses burned out during the fight. Their minds couldn't handle the strain." "And the Horizon?" asked Captain Harris. "It was our command ship." When the program was shut down afterward, all records were classified. The surviving synapses were decommissioned. Our implants were supposedly deactivated, and we were put back into society with new identities. Daniel's eyes widened. "But your implant just activated. How is that possible?" Olivia touched her neck where the mark throbbed. "I don't know. It shouldn't be possible, unless—" She turned back to the console, fingers flying over the controls. With practiced ease, the screen changed to show a secure log entry dated just 3 months earlier. "This ship has been drifting for over a decade," she said, reading the log. "But someone was here recently? Someone reactivated specific systems and left this message for any synapse who might find it." The log entry was brief but chilling. "They've been watching us since Proxima, studying us. The first encounter was just a test. The real invasion begins. Soon, normal defenses will fail. Find the others. Remember what you are?" Captain Harris's face became serious as he read the log entry. "Who left this message?" "Commander Edward Powell," Olivia replied. "He was our handler, the head of the Synapse program. I thought he died when the program ended." A sound from deeper in the ship made them all freeze. "I thought you said there were no life signs," the captain whispered to Daniel. "There weren't," he replied, checking his scanner again. Still nothing showing up. Olivia stood, suddenly alert. That's because they're not alive, not in the way your scanners would recognize. What do you mean? Captain Harris demanded. The aliens we fought at Proxima, they weren't fully biological. They were ... hybrid beings, part organic, part machine. That's why the synapses were created to match their neural processing speeds. As if answering her words, a low, rhythmic humming began to echo through the ship. The lights flickered and the temperature dropped noticeably. We need to leave, Olivia said urgently, now. But as they turned toward the exit, the ship's systems suddenly came to life around them. Doors slammed shut, locking them on the bridge. The main screen changed again, showing a countdown. 3 o'clock, 2:59, 2:58. What's happening? The captain demanded. Olivia's face was pale but determined. The ship is starting an emergency jump. It's taking us somewhere, and I think I know where. She touched her mark again, feeling the implant beneath it pulsing with renewed purpose. To the others, to the surviving synapses. As the countdown continued, the broken ship shuddered around them, systems turning on one by one. Outside the windows, space itself seemed to bend and fold. Can you stop it? Daniel asked. Olivia shook her head. No, and I'm not sure we should. Whatever Commander Powell discovered about the aliens' return it was important enough for him to reactivate this ship and leave it as a beacon. She looked at Captain Harris. Sir, we need to warn Earth. The Proxima incident wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The captain nodded grimly. The Valiant is being signaled by this ship's systems, Daniel interrupted, checking his scanner. They've been told to stay in position and wait for our return. The countdown reached 0, and the stars outside stretched into lines of light. The horizon, a ghost ship carrying the seeds of humanity's past and future, jumped into faster-than-light travel, bound for a destination only Olivia's awakened implant understood. As the ship traveled through space, Olivia sat quietly, her mind processing everything that had happened. After years of hiding who she was, her secret was now out in the open. Captain Harris and Daniel knew she was a synapse, one of the neural integrated pilots created to fight an enemy that most of humanity didn't even know existed. Daniel sat down beside her. How are you feeling? Olivia gave a small, sad laugh. How do you think? Everything I've worked for, every effort I made to build a normal life, it's all gone now. Is that what you were doing on the Valiant? Trying to be normal, she nodded. After the program was shut down, they gave us new identities, new lives. They told us to forget what we were, what we'd done. But how do you forget something like that? How do you forget being linked to a ship, feeling it as if it were your own body? Daniel was quiet for a moment. Is that what the implant does? Links you to ships? Not just ships, Olivia explained. It was designed to enhance neural processing, to allow human minds to interface directly with complex systems. The ship connection was just one application. She touched the mark on her neck. When they deactivated the implants, it was like losing a sense. Like suddenly going blind after seeing colors your whole life. Captain Harris joined them. The ship's systems indicate. We'll reach our destination in about an hour. I need to know what we're heading into, Lieutenant. Olivia straightened. Honestly, sir, I don't know. The coordinates weren't in my conscious mind, they were embedded in the data download. But based on the message from Commander Powell, I believe, we're heading to where the other surviving synapses have gathered. And what do you think they want with you? The captain asked. I don't know that either, Olivia admitted. But the message was clear about one thing: the aliens are coming back, and normal defenses won't stop them. Daniel leaned forward. You said these aliens were hybrids, part organic, part machine. What exactly does that mean? Olivia's eyes grew distant as she remembered. They're like nothing you've ever seen. Their bodies are biological but enhanced with integrated technology. They don't use machines, they become them. And their minds ... they're networked. Connected. A collective consciousness that can process information at speeds no human brain could match. She paused. Except ours. The synapse implants were reverse-engineered from technology recovered from their scout ships. Captain Harris looked troubled. You're saying we used alien tech to modify human brains? The War Department was desperate. Olivia said simply. The first encounters with the aliens showed how outmatched we were. They could hack our systems, predict our movements, coordinate attacks with impossible precision. We needed an edge. So they created you, Daniel said quietly. Olivia nodded. 30 volunteers from elite military units. We knew the risks, or we thought we did. The neural integration process killed 18 of us outright. Their brains simply couldn't handle the alien technology. The rest of us survived, but we were changed. Changed how? The captain asked. Before Olivia could answer, the ship shuddered as it dropped out of FTL. Through the viewports, they could see they had arrived at a small, cratered moon. Where are we? Captain Harris asked, looking at the unfamiliar body, Olivia's. Eyes widened in recognition. Deimos, Mars's outer moon. She blinked, surprised by her certainty. The information was in the data download coordinates buried in the neural stream. Daniel checked his instruments. She's right. We're in orbit around Deimos. The ship's sensors detected a facility built into the moon's surface, a structure that didn't appear on any official maps. A secret base, Olivia explained. The real headquarters of the Synapse program, hidden in plain sight. After the Proxima incident, the public-facing parts of the program were shut down, but the core research continued here. The ship's communication system activated automatically, sending an identification code to the hidden facility. Moments later, a docking bay door opened on the moon's surface. The ship is programmed to land, Olivia said as the horizon began its descent. We're expected. As the ship settled into the docking bay with a gentle thud, Olivia felt a strange mix of emotions. Fear of what lay ahead. Relief at no longer hiding. And somewhere deep inside, a sense of coming home, a feeling she hadn't experienced since. Her implant was deactivated 7 years ago. The external doors closed above them, and lights activated along a corridor leading deeper into the facility. I don't like this, the captain muttered. Checking his weapon. Olivia understood his concern, but something was pulling her forward, a sense of purpose activated along with her implant. Sir, with respect, I believe we need to see this through. Whatever Commander Powell discovered about the alien threat was important enough to reactivate this entire network. After a moment's thought, Captain Harris nodded. Proceed with caution, but at the first sign of trouble, we're out of here. As they prepared to disembark, Olivia touched the mark on her neck. For years, she had seen it as a reminder of her painful past. Now, it might be the key to humanity's future. The secret she had tried so hard to bury was about to be fully unearthed, and not just for her crew, but perhaps for all of humanity. The trio left the ship, moving carefully down the corridor. The facility was running on low power, emergency lights casting long shadows across the walls. Despite being abandoned for years, the air was breathable and the environment stable. They passed labs filled with equipment Olivia recognized neural mapping stations, simulation chambers, and the surgery units where her implant had been installed. The memories made her shiver. This place gives me the creeps, Daniel muttered, scanning each room as they passed. It looks like everyone just walked out one day and never came back. That's basically what happened, Olivia replied. When the program was officially ended, this facility was supposed to be shut down and destroyed. They reached a set of heavy doors marked Command Center. Olivia placed her palm on the scanner beside the entrance. After a moment, the system recognized her and the doors slid open. Inside, they found not an empty room, but 5 people waiting for them. 3 men and 2 women, all with the same telltale mark on their necks that Olivia had. The surviving synapses, she whispered. A tall man with graying hair stepped forward. Lieutenant Mason, we've been waiting for you. I'm Alan Donovan, Synapse Ven. How did you know I would come? Olivia asked. We all received the same activation signal, replied a woman with auburn hair. I'm Patricia Klein, Synapse 3. When our implants reactivated, we each followed the coordinates here. Captain Harris stepped forward. I'm Captain William Harris of the USS Valiant. I demand to know what's going on here. A third synapse, a man with deeply lined features, answered. I'm Kevin Foster, Synapse 5. What's going on, Captain, is that we're preparing for war. A war that began at Proxima and is about to start again on a much larger scale. Commander Powell discovered something, Olivia said. Something about the aliens, Alan nodded gravely. 3 months ago, deep space monitoring stations detected signals matching those from the Proxima encounter. Powell, who had continued studying the alien technology in secret, decoded enough to understand their intentions. They weren't defeated at Proxima, they were simply gathering intelligence. Daniel frowned. If this threat is real, why not alert Starfleet through proper channels? Because, said the fifth synapse, a quiet man who had remained in the shadows until now, Starfleet has been compromised. As he stepped into the light, Olivia gasped in recognition. Commander Powell? The man nodded. In the flesh what's left of it. His face had severe scarring and one arm appeared to be a sophisticated prosthetic. After I decoded the alien transmissions, I tried to warn Starfleet Command. That same night, assassins came for me. Not aliens, humans. Someone high up in the command structure doesn't want this information getting out. Why? Captain Harris demanded. If Earth is facing an invasion, why hide the warning? Because, Powell replied grimly, some believe they can negotiate with the invaders. Trade technology, perhaps even human subjects for study, in exchange for being spared. They're wrong, of course. The entities we encountered don't negotiate, they assimilate or destroy. Patricia moved to a central console and activated a display showing tactical data. The aliens are establishing a beachhead in the Kuiper Belt. From there, they'll launch their main invasion force. We have less than 2 weeks. And what exactly do you plan to do? Daniel asked. There are only 6 of you. 7 now with Olivia. Alan corrected. And we're not planning a direct confrontation. We couldn't win that way. What we're planning is much more elegant. Powell gestured to a sealed door at the far end of the command center. During the past decade, I've been studying the alien technology recovered from Proxima. I discovered something remarkable about their neural network. It's vulnerable to the same kind of integration our synapse implants use, but in reverse. Understanding dawned on Olivia. You're planning to use our implants to hack their network. Precisely. Powell confirmed. A virus delivered directly into their command systems by synapse carriers. It would sever their neural connections and render their forces inert. But the strain. Olivia began remembering the burning sensation when her implant had activated on the horizon. Would be fatal to the carriers? Powell finished solemnly. Yes, this is a one-way mission. Captain Harris stepped between them. This is crazy. I cannot allow my officer to sacrifice herself based on information I cannot verify. Powell's expression hardened. With all due respect, Captain, you don't have the authority to stop us. These people, all of us, were written off by Starfleet years ago. Official records list us as deceased. We don't exist. I exist, Olivia countered, and I serve on the Valiant now. My life is my own. Alan approached her, his voice gentle but urgent. Is it, Olivia? The implant in your neck says otherwise. You were created for this moment. We all were. The question is, will you embrace your purpose or run from it? As Olivia struggled with the implications, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Patricia rushed to the security monitors. We've got company, she announced. A Starfleet vessel just entered orbit. They're hailing the facility. Powell's face darkened. They found us sooner than I expected. On the monitor, they could see the sleek lines of a Starfleet interceptor. Unlike the exploration-focused Valiant, this was a warship. It's the Nemesis, Captain Harris said, recognizing the vessel. Admiral Clark's flagship. Clark, Powell spat the name. He's one of the collaborators. The facility's communication system crackled to life. Attention unauthorized personnel on Dymas facility. This is Admiral Richard Clark. You are in violation of Starfleet security protocols. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. Powell turned to the gathered synapses. We're out of time. We need to make our choice now. Olivia looked from Powell to Captain Harris, torn between duty and destiny. between the life she had built and the purpose for which she had been created. The mark on her neck seemed to pulse with each heartbeat, a reminder of secrets, long buried secrets that could no longer remain hidden. What exactly would I have to do? She asked Powell, her voice barely above a whisper. Your implant is unique among the synapses, he replied. It's more adaptable, more integrated with your neural pathways. You would be the primary carrier, the one who could get deepest into their network. And the others? Support vectors. They would help establish the initial connection, create distractions in the alien network while you deliver the payload. Captain Harris grabbed her arm. Lieutenant, I forbid this. We don't even know if what they're saying is true. Olivia looked at her captain, respect and regret mingling in her eyes. Sir, with all due respect, if what they're saying is true, and we do nothing, humanity will fall. I can't take that chance. Outside, the facility shook as Admiral Clark's ship began a tactical bombardment of the surface installations. He's trying to flush us out, Powell said, or bury us. Either way, we're running out of time. Olivia closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the choice before her. 7 years ago, she had tried to bury her past, to hide what she was. She had covered her scar and built a new life, pretending to be something she wasn't. But now, faced with humanity's extinction, perhaps it was time to stop hiding. Perhaps it was time to embrace the very thing she had been running from all these years. She opened her eyes and looked at the other synapses, her kind, the only people who could truly understand what she had been through. Then she looked at Daniel and Captain Harris, representatives of the normal life she had tried to build. The facility shook again, harder this time, as another bombardment hit the surface. Alarms wailed, and emergency systems activated throughout the command center. Well, Lieutenant? Powell asked, his scarred face tense with urgency. What's it going to be? Time seemed to stop as Olivia stood at the crossroads of her fate. The alarm continued its urgent wail, but the sound faded as clarity washed over her. There's something not right about this, she said slowly, eyes narrowing as she studied Powell's face. The synapse program was shut down because the neural integration was killing us. Yet here you all are, implants fully working, showing none of the problems that troubled us after Proxima. Powell's expression tightened almost invisibly. We found ways to stabilize the technology. No, Daniel stepped forward with his scanner. Lieutenant Mason is right. I've been monitoring their neural patterns since we entered. Their implants aren't just stable, they've been fundamentally changed. He looked up, face pale. These aren't human neural patterns anymore. In an instant, Captain Harris had his weapon drawn. Step away from my officers, Powell. The commander smiled, but the expression never reached his eyes. Always so sharp, Olivia. It's what made you special among the synapses. He sighed, then nodded to the other four, who moved with unnatural coordination to surround them. What happened to you? Olivia demanded, fighting to keep her voice steady. What really happened after Proxima? Evolution happened, Powell replied, his voice changing subtly, gaining a musical quality that sent chills down her spine. When the aliens retreated, they took something with them, me and these others. We were studied, improved, and eventually repurposed. You're not Powell, Captain Harris stated flatly. I have his memories, his knowledge. In many ways, I am more Edward Powell than the original ever was. The thing wearing Powell's face gestured to the facility around them. This was never about reactivating the Synapse program to defend Earth. It was about reactivating you, Olivia. Olivia felt cold dread settling in her stomach. Why me? Because you were different. Your neural architecture was unique. You interfaced with the technology in ways the others couldn't. Ways that frightened even your creators. Not Powell tapped his temple. The aliens recognized your potential immediately. You were the one that got away. The signal from the horizon, Daniel realized. It wasn't a warning, it was bait. Clever? Boy, not Powell smiled. We needed Olivia's implant reactivated, but we couldn't risk triggering Starfleet's security protocols with a direct approach. The horizon served as the perfect lure. Olivia's mind raced. If they wanted her implant active, there had to be a reason and a way to use that against them. She needed time. What about Admiral Clark? She asked. Is he really coming to stop you? Oh, the Admiral is quite real and quite human, Not Powell replied. A dedicated man determined to eradicate what he sees as the last remnants of a failed and dangerous program. He has no idea he's doing exactly what we want, creating chaos and confusion while we complete our work. Captain Harris kept his weapon trained on Not Powell. Which is what, exactly? The creature's smile widened. Olivia's implant contains the original unaltered synapse technology. With it, we can finally decode the encryption protecting Earth's defense network. Her mind is the key we've been seeking for 11 years. Olivia felt the implant in her neck growing warmer. Something was happening, data flowing both ways now. In activating her implant, they had created a connection they perhaps didn't fully understand. You're not taking me anywhere, she stated, buying more time as she mentally traced the pathways of information streaming through her consciousness. Years of suppressed training began to resurface. Not Powell approached her, unconcerned by the captain's weapon. You misunderstand. We don't need to take you anywhere. Now that your implant is fully reactivated and connected to our network, we simply need to extract the encryption keys. The process has already begun. Daniel's scanner beeped urgently. Olivia, your neural activity is spiking dangerously. She could feel it, the burning sensation spreading from her neck throughout her body. But along with the pain came something unexpected, control. The neural pathways weren't just receiving data. They were granting her access to the alien network. You made a mistake, she said through gritted teeth. The synapse technology was based on human neural architecture. It was designed to be intuitive, adaptable. She locked eyes with the thing wearing Powell's face. And right now, it's adapting to you. Realization dawned on the creature's features a moment too late. Olivia closed her eyes, focusing all her concentration on the connection between her implant and the alien network. Instead of fighting the flow of information, she dove into it. Swimming upstream through the data, the hybrid beings surrounding them suddenly stiffened, their movements becoming jerky and uncoordinated. What are you doing? Not, Powell demanded, his harmonized voice distorting. What I was made for, Olivia replied, eyes still closed in concentration, fighting you on your own terrain. Captain Harris seized the opportunity, grabbing Daniel's arm. We need to get out of here now. But Daniel pulled away. We can't leave her. Above them, the facility shook as Admiral Clark's ship continued to bomb the surface installations. Olivia opened her eyes, which now shimmered with the same inner light as the hybrid beings. Captain, take Daniel and get to the horizon. I'm sending you the real data about the alien fleet, their actual position, their vulnerabilities. Get it to Admiral Clark. Lieutenant, the captain began. This isn't a sacrifice, sir, she cut him off, her voice strangely calm despite the chaos around them. It's a counterattack. Through her implant, Olivia had discovered the truth. The alien consciousness wasn't invading, it was already dying. The hybrids were a last desperate attempt to infiltrate human society and steal the technology they needed to save themselves. Their fearsome invasion fleet was little more than a phantom of bluff designed to manipulate humanity into surrendering. Not Powell lurched toward her, his movements increasingly uncoordinated. Stop this! You'll destroy yourself along with us. Maybe, Olivia acknowledged, but I'm taking you with me. Captain Harris made his decision. Right, we're leaving. That's an order. He fired his weapon at the hybrid, blocking their path to the exit, causing it to stumble backward. Daniel hesitated, looking back at Olivia. You can still come with us. She shook her head, focusing on maintaining her neural assault. Too late. For that, my implant is fully integrated into their network now. I'm the firewall between them and Earth's defenses. She managed a small smile. Go, make sure this counts. As Harris and Daniel fought their way toward the exit, the facility continued to shake under Admiral Clark's bombardment. Olivia stood in the center of the command room, surrounded by the increasingly malfunctioning hybrid beings, her mind expanding through their network. She could see everything now, the truth behind the Proxima incident, the real nature of the aliens, and the extent of their infiltration. They weren't the overwhelming force they had presented themselves as. They were refugees, the last of their kind, desperate and dangerous, but ultimately doomed. Not Powell collapsed to his knees before her. "You don't understand what you're doing," he pleaded, his voice fluctuating between Powell's human tones and the alien harmonics. "We could have shared so much with humanity. Advanced your species by centuries. At what cost?" Olivia countered. "Absorption. Assimilation? Humanity becoming just another footnote in your species' history?" Through her expanded consciousness, she could sense the horizon lifting off, carrying Captain Harris, Daniel, and the critical intelligence about the alien threat. She tracked their progress as they evaded the facility's automated defenses and broke atmosphere. Not Powell made one last lunge toward her, but his hybrid body was failing as the virus Olivia had created through her neural connection spread through their network. "We gave you that scar," he hissed. "We made you what you are." "No," Olivia replied calmly. "The scar doesn't define me. It never did. What I choose to do with it, that's what matters." As the ceiling began to collapse under continued bombardment, Olivia closed her eyes again. Her consciousness expanded one final time, following the virus she had created as it raced through the alien network, severing connections, breaking down the hybrid neural architecture. In orbit aboard the horizon, Daniel watched the facility collapse in on itself as Admiral Clark's ship continued its assault. "She's gone," he said quietly. Captain Harris stood beside him, his face solemn. "Lieutenant Mason completed her mission. He held up a data chip and made sure we could complete ours." 3 months later, a small ceremony was held aboard the USS Valiant. Captain Harris, now promoted to Admiral following the identification and removal of alien infiltrators throughout Starfleet, stood before the assembled crew. "Today we honor not just Lieutenant Olivia Mason's sacrifice, but her courage in facing the truth about herself," he said. "The scar she carried for so long wasn't just a mark of her past, it became the means of humanity's salvation." Daniel, newly promoted to lieutenant commander, stood at attention as a memorial plaque was unveiled on the bridge. It bore a simple inscription beneath Olivia's name and rank. Her scars told a story she tried to hide, but in the end chose to embrace. "Through her courage, humanity faces the stars unafraid."